June bugs, here we go. Fox 6 Sports Blitz, first show of the new month. Appreciate you tuning in. Lily Zhao is here. Brandon Cruz is here. I'm Tim Van Voort. Full boat with you tonight. Here is the starting lineup. Brewers blow by the teams from the Windy City. That's teams plural. Once again, the Brewers get a little feisty with an opposing team as well. A lineup change makes us say what? Organized team activities give us a better look at one of the Packers' key acquisitions, and bragging rights earned in state high school championships. That sets the stage for quite a big show. This was quite a big week. It was the week Chicago died, if you want to go back to the old Paper Lace Classic, because the Brewers taking care of the Cubs and Craig Counsell, all the hype. The baseball was pretty interesting, to be sure. And then the White Sox, boom, 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 3 straight rally wins. You were at the ballpark today. We've both been at the ballpark all week, or all three of us have been at the ballpark all week. So we can talk about a lot of things that took place out there. But today it was just another of these Brewer games where they stay with it and somebody else comes through.
And what you see with this team, and Pat Murphy has talked about it numerous times, they do the little things, and those little things really come through in big moments. And in this case, all of their runs today coming with 2 outs. The same thing happened when they won on Thursday. All of their runs coming with 2 outs. So the one thing that they do, they have this never say die approach, and they never seem to feel that they are out of an at-bat, out of an inning, out of a game. And it comes through in such big moments from anybody down the lineup. It doesn't matter where it is. Today, Jackson Churio, a 3-run shot, he was batting ninth. Hadn't homered since the middle of May. Then you also have some great defensive play from these guys in key moments, and that's when Christian Yelich comes up and makes a play by throwing out Tommy Pham at the plate. And to me, these guys are just having fun, and they all just want to be out playing, and that's one of the most exciting things about this group.
Lily, how in the world? We saw all these Brewer lineups over the last several seasons. They weren't getting all these runs with 2 outs. How is this lineup making this happen?
Well, they're being opportunistic, and these guys are just hitting at a historic, I shouldn't say historic, they're hitting at a very, very good rate. But I think, again, like Brandon mentioned, this is a team that never thinks that they're out, and they always take advantage of the bullpen. Yeah, they could struggle against starting pitchers, but once they get that opportunity in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings, they really make the most of them. They're really patient at the plate. They kind of wait for the perfect ball to swing at, and we're kind of seeing the fruits of their labor pay off as well. But these guys are always very conscious of their base running as well. You know, guys stealing second, stealing third. You're just finding ways to score, playing small ball, and they're just finding ways to win, which is really impressive. Again, even though they're down in games, they are never out. I think that's what's really impressed me about this team so far, is that anybody on any given day can come up with a big hit, a big play, and that's the reason why they won. They were 6-1 during this homestand.
And one of those anybody's is Willy Adames. Talk about a little contract drive here, maybe?
Potentially, right? I mean, he walked off for the Brewers the other night, and just big hit after big hit from Willy Adames. And I think we talked about in the past, this Brewers offense wasn't able to find that big hit. Where is that big hit coming from? Well, during this homestand, it was coming from Willy Adames, just finding ways to drive guys in and making those big hits, and he's been so impressive. And I think, you know, this is a guy that Brewers fans and the Brewers organization probably want to keep around for a long time.
Interesting, because they have players who could play shortstop, but Adames is making it pretty tough to replace him, as Lily mentions there. Brandon, let's look on the pitching side of things. I think there are 8, Pat Murphy was talking about 8 guys maybe now who have saves this season. Right. Freddie Peralta has had some big strikeout numbers. What about that side of the ball here? When we talk about these offensive numbers and the depth of that lineup, what do you see happening over there where injuries have been befallen this team all season?
Well, the guys are stepping up. I mean, today they were expecting Freddie Peralta to go well into the game. Instead, he throws 43 pitches in the first inning, the most he's ever thrown in an inning. So he only goes 5 innings. The rest of the bullpen then has to come on, and they get some great efforts from guys that you probably haven't heard of. Kevin Hergen. Really? Have you heard of Kevin Hergen?
He was great.
He was unbelievable. He struck out the first 5 guys he saw. Every time a guy gets a chance out of the bullpen, it feels like they have a chip on their shoulder saying, I'm not going to allow any of these inherited runners to score or any runs to score, period. And that was the case today. And it was just really something that we see each time that they get called upon, that it's a sense of pride and it's just next man up mentality. And so they hand the ball off and that guy delivers.
And that guy sometimes is Inoli Paredes. How about this guy?
First time.
Demonstrative, expressive.
He had a lot of fun in this one today, and he earned his first career save.
All right, let's talk about, since we're talking about battery mates, we've talked about William Contreras a ton this season. The other guy who's caught a little bit, DH'd a little bit, and suddenly produced a lot is Gary Sanchez.
And he does it again, right? Provides the Brewers with some insurance in that 8th inning with a big hit to drive in 2 runs. And this is a guy who they brought in. They like his power at the plate. And again, he's delivering in key moments. And when you talk about just guys that you kind of assume are going to make the big play, right? A Willie Adames and William Contreras, all of a sudden you have Gary Sanchez coming up big. And that's exactly what you want from a power hitter. And that's exactly what he's doing for this team. So it's just you're getting contributions up and down the lineup. And it's fun to watch a guy like Gary really kind of put this team on his back late there in the 8th inning to help him ensure a win and a sweep.
And I think you have to mention, probably repeatedly as we go through this season, Matt Arnold in the front office. They put themselves out on the limb for some of these guys like Gary Sanchez, and suddenly it comes back around and you're getting production. It doesn't just happen automatically. Credit the players for sure, and Pat Murphy's touch here, but the roster building on this team has been evident, and the cohesion has come together all the way around. So it's really been interesting so far for the Brewers, who've gotten to this point, and we can get into some specifics of where they got in this game against the White Sox today.
Yeah, it was, to me, when you look at what happened in this game, it's the 8th inning. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's look at what happened in the 8th inning with this play. It's a fly ball to left field. It's a 1-run game. Christian Yelich comes up and throws out Tommy Pham. And look, you can see a little conversation maybe going on there.
There's Paredes jumping around.
Right, and Tommy Pham takes exception to it. And these guys kind of look like, uh-oh, something's going to go on here, right? Well, cooler heads end up prevailing for the most part, but the tempers were still there even after the game. Here's Tommy Pham in the clubhouse, and then you're going to hear the reaction from the Brewers manager following that.
I'm going to the dugout, and then, I hear the tough guy with all the hoorah, so I'll never start anything, but I'll be prepared to finish it. There's a reason why, I do all kinds of fighting in the off season, because I'm prepared to somebody up, so you can take it as what it is.
Tommy trying to say, hey, man, I can play for you guys, man. Like, bring me over there, I'll do this stuff. See, I'm just like you. I can do that. I really like Tommy Pham.
Tommy decided that his interview was over. Right? He was at the end of the day, just walking off the shot there. And I think Pat Murphy's onto something there. Tommy Pham undoubtedly could be with some contender in the second half of the season. White Sox are terrible. Pham signed at the point this season basically just to get back in the majors and get himself back into shape, so he'll probably get a job somewhere else. So again, you were there today. What did you make of it at the time?
Well, you felt like, oh no, this is going to be another bench clearing incident, because you can sense the tension in the moment, because the White Sox felt they were rallying and they were going to tie this game, if not take the lead in the 8th. Instead, you have the play to keep it a 1-run game, and then you have the excitement from the Brewers side of things, which, why not? You just threw a guy out at the plate. But because of the frustration, I mean, the White Sox have now lost 11 straight games, and they've only won 15 games all season long. It's been a long start to this season. It's only June 2nd, and they're pretty much out of everything. So to me, when you see that frustration build over, it happens. Also, we know that Tommy Pham has a very short fuse. We've seen that in his history before. So to me, it was one of those moments that could have been a lot bigger. Things did calm down enough, and I think the Brewers even kind of added insult to injury with the run scored in the bottom of that inning.
Well, probably so. And the Brewers have been in some things this season. Now, this is far from the first little skirmish, if you will, Lily. Is that an aberration, or is that who this team is?
I think, again, it's just kind of them, kind of leaning towards the identity of their manager, Pat Murphy. Again, we've talked about it. This is a guy that's not backing down. This is a team that's not going to back down. We've seen a lot of skirmishes on the field already in the first half of the season, right? And it's a big deal. You have Rhys Hoskins right there doing the wah very early on in the season.
Opening series.
And, of course, the Mets take objection to that. And then there's a lot of benches clearing brawls, and a lot of tempers are flaring. But, the Brewers made national news on their opening series for an incident like that. I shouldn't say incident, but for a highlight like that. And we're kind of still talking about Brewers kind of, stirring things up with other teams 40, 50 games into the season.
You could pick the Rays. You could pick the Jays. You could pick the Red Sox. You could throw a lot of video shots in here for the Brewers. They've been going at it with teams. But where was the White Sox TV announcer today? And he's saying, oh, the White Sox aren't going to take any of that. Well, you get the sense the Brewers aren't going to take anything. They have very low expectations, very young team, very low payroll, and they have the biggest lead in the major leagues of any division.
They do. And a big reason you see things like this team is there for one another. I mean, these guys are playing for each other. It is a unified group. We've been covering this team, this organization for such a long time. I don't remember necessarily a group having this much fun and seemingly being this close. I mean, a lot of them are young. A lot of them played in the minors together, and now they're up here in the big leagues. And they're going to go to bat with one another for anything, and they're not going to be disrespected or feel threatened on the field, and they're going to come out and fight for their rights. They even fight for themselves to get on the field. That's what we have happen today as well. So what you see is just a very tight-knit group, and sometimes it shows up in places like this when a guy in Boston decides to yell at the first base coach because they bunted on him.
And Lily, this is true that Brandon is saying about this team, but you could be here today, gone tomorrow. The players are in and out almost continually from AAA.
Yeah, you kind of have to be careful, right? You don't want to do swings. We saw Abner Uribe, swing at a player, and he was sent down, but, the guys are suspended. So you do want to be careful, but you also do want to stick up for your team. Of course, Blake Perkins, they're trying to keep Mr. Barry calm and cool there during that incident with the Red Sox during their series. So, again, guys got to be careful, and they don't want to do anything that will kind of diminish their chances of being on the team. But I do like the fight in this team and knowing that, listen, we're not going to take anything from anybody.
Not going to take anything except a lot of wins. I mean, the Brewers could go into a swoon here later in the season. They're already in very good position with their record so far. We have Say What coming around the corner. Lots of good stuff tonight on the Fox 6 Sports Blitz.
Do I vote? I don't even know if I vote for her.
You really want to ask that question out of the gate?
I just like getting people's attention with something.
My significant other think he's sexy, so.
Wow. That was interesting. Was that Taylor Swift?
I don't know if he had a choice. I mean, the boys are going out there, so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Murph's fired up about it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they were going out there, so.
We were going to see William Contreras and Willie Adames no matter what today. According to Christian Yelich, Pat Murphy just had to go along with it, and it seemed to work out well.
They were not in the original lineup, though, when they got to the ballpark.
Right, and then they went and talked to him, and he thought about it and then put him in because they fought for it. And the guys in that clubhouse thought that was unbelievable by the players, and they thought it was a good move by Murphy. Well, a good move seemingly by the Packers seems to have Josh Jacobs on this roster. He gets out during OTAs this week. What does that do for him now that he kind of got to be a full participant in the second week of OTAs?
He had a big smile on his face. He wants to be a part of this team. Obviously, he's excited about being where he thinks it's going to be a winning football team. You watch him here, and you see him when you get out there and you see him in person, shorter than you think than he looks on TV, thicker than he looks on TV. And in terms of what it does for him, Brandon, it likes him feel connected to this team. So many guys are out there. They're doing things already offensively. He's new to the green and gold. He wants to actually have his hands on the ball and do some of this stuff.
One of the things that he talked about was wanting to be in the postseason, something he really didn't get to do with the Raiders in his 5 seasons. That clearly has to be a bigger motivation than maybe he had out there.
I think so. They were kind of a fringy playoff team. Oh, we get in, we're excited. You go to Green Bay after last season, you're expecting you're going to be in, and you're going to be in for a while. You can contend for something. And Jacobs is going to be the main man. Matt LaFleur was asked, do you like the split backfield type of thing? He said, yeah, I kind of like about 70%, ideally, if you got a back who can do that. And Josh Jacobs certainly has been a workhorse to this point in his college and professional career. So look for a lot of number 8 when the Packers have the football.
Connections are a big deal, especially in a locker room. He has a connection to Keyshawn Nixon. He has a connection on this team, right? What does that do to get him moving forward?
I think it does a lot because, you're at least comfortable with somebody on the team, and then that way you don't really not know somebody else. So I think that's a big move just to kind of know somebody in town and kind of get rolling. But it was nice to see him back on the field and knowing that a lot of eyeballs will be on him this season, knowing that a lot of people are expecting him, A.J. Dillon and company to produce, and what can they do in the backfield. So just excited to kind of see what he can do, and it's nice that he's familiar somewhat in that regard.
One of the things, too, about this is guys getting healthy and getting their chance to show that they are healthy. Eric Stokes one of those guys. What did you see from him this week when he was finally out there again?
You know, he's had the hamstring problems. He's had some foot problems as well, but hamstring problems. There's so much attention on Christian Watson's hamstrings problems. If Eric Stokes can come back and play like a first-round draft choice, keep in mind he was a first-round draft choice, that would really be a benefit for the defensive backfield. He's extremely enthusiastic about being back, Brandon. He's ecstatic to be back. Now, it's up to him to produce. Let's face it, his play had slipped even before he got hurt when he was coming back for that second season. So the pressure's on him to play better, but if he's healthy, he really thinks he can, and that would allow him to contribute to this Packer defensive backfield.
The guys that he's looking at in front of him are the young wide receivers. There seems to be a very competitive group right now with each other as they're heading into the second season for many.
Right, and Matt LaFleur was asked about Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed, and he complimented just how big of a leap that they've made and just the commitment he's seen from those guys. But it's not just those two, right? It's a really big wide receivers room. There's going to be a lot of competition on there. Christian Watson's getting healthier. Jaden Reed looking to really carve out a bigger role there. Romeo Dobbs, what can he do in another year? So it's really fun to watch this group because you don't really truly add anybody to it. They like the core group that they have, and it's going to be fun to really watch the leaps from years 1 to 2 to 2 to 3.
And those guys work together in the offseason, and now they're hoping that it pays off as they get closer to the 2024 season. Well, switching to college baseball, the UW Whitewater baseball team has survived to play another day in the Division III College World Series. Sam Payton's walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth on Sunday gives them a win over Birmingham Southern in an elimination game. They had trailed 10-5. They'll now have a rematch with Salve Regina tomorrow. The Seahawks are the team that beat the Warhawks on Saturday. And the Admirals, they're back in Milwaukee preparing for Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals against Coachella Valley. The Firebirds won the first 2 games in Southern California. So now Games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, are at Panther Arena starting on Tuesday. So it should be exciting downtown for the Ads to get back on home ice. Coming up next, we cap off a championship weekend for a number of high school athletes.
Welcome back. It was a championship-filled weekend for many of our local teams and athletes at the WIAA State Track and Field Meet in La Crosse and the Boys Tennis State Individual Championships out in Madison. Here's a brief roundup of a busy few days on the track and the court. A rainy weekend turned out to be a historic one for the Arrowhead Warhawks at the State Track and Field Meet. They became the first Division I program to ever win both the boys and girls team titles in the same meet. The boys team took its 4th straight team title while the girls won their first. And how about this combined picture with the medals and their hardware? Pretty priceless. Meanwhile, a big individual effort for Arrowhead's Logan Hicks, who posted a state record in the 300-meter hurdles. Hicks also set a state record in the 110-meter hurdles with a time of 13.97 seconds. Whitefish Bay senior Landon Gallen also won 2 events, the boys' 100 and 200-meter dashes in Division I. He'll take gold in the 200 with a time of 21.74 seconds. Congrats! 2 other schools took home titles in the sprint relays. Catholic Memorial's Division II 4x100-meter relay team captured its first gold in that event since 2017, winning in just over 42 seconds. Meanwhile, Kenosha St. Joseph Catholic captured the 4x200-meter relay in Division III. And Marquette's Gianni Quintero had a winning weekend. The wheelchair athlete set a state record for the 800-meter wheelchair, winning the event in just over 1 minute and 56 seconds. The 2-time defending champion in the boys' wheelchair 100-meter, Quintero repeated there before winning the 400-meter dash as well to earn 3 gold medals. Pretty impressive. Marquette also won the boys' wheelchair team title. On the girls' side, Homestead's Anissa Barnett was a multiple event champion, winning the long jump, which also set a school record. Barnett also won her 2nd straight triple jump title as well. The tennis now, former FOX6 high school hotshot, became an individual state champ this weekend. Brookfield Academy's Adrian Yen, who we profiled, was part of a 2-time tennis state championship team, and now he can add Division II singles champion to his resume after winning in 3 sets. Yen was a runner-up as a freshman and junior, so congratulations on the win, and to all the winners over the weekend in boys tennis and, of course, track and field, boys and girls as well. All right, we'll be right back.
And the Tigers this week.
Packers continue organized team activities.
Ads Game 3 Tuesday night at Panther Arena.
AmFam Championship next weekend in Madison.
IndyCar racing at Road America. So we're racing on out of here. See you next Sunday.